give a little bit of context. So we do these meetings same time every Monday. We have a spreadsheet that we have just rejuvenated to make sure that we're tracking the right things. And we're just going to run this as normal. So I've said to the guys, like, let's just go for it. And if we don't want to post it afterwards, we don't have to post it, but we can. So let's just kick off weekly scorecard sesh. Oh, and I guess another bit of helpful context is before this, Levi messaged saying, I fear we've picked the wrong week to record because this is what, like, our worst week essentially of the year. We're going to probably see lots of reds. And I was like, no, you know what? I think that's better. I think it's better to show you guys what a weekly scorecard sesh looks like if we don't hit the targets, because we don't hit them every week and we're not supposed to. Targets, I don't think, are there to be hit all the time. If you're hitting your targets every week, week in, week out, they're not high enough, in my opinion. So yeah, let's go.
Whereas I was like, cancel it, let's all go home, we're not doing it.
Let's bring the targets down, let's make it look good.
Okay, let me share it.
For a bit of context, before we jump into this, like, to give you guys an overview. So these 3 questions at the on the bottom right, what are the headlines? Why are we there? And what are we doing about it? That's the 3 questions that I want Levi and Tisha to bring to the table. So what are the headlines? So they report the data. So this morning, they've put this data in the spreadsheet. And the process of them finding the data and putting it in, for me, is so important. Like, so many managers will do the data part. They will go and find the data and then bring it to the table and then ask the questions. But the reason it's so important for these guys to do it is because in that process of figuring out the data, that's where the next steps come. So not only is it accountability because they actually own those numbers, but it's that in the process of going and finding, pull the report of how many subscribers. Shit, why is this many churned? Oh, actually, it's because of this. It's a good thing. And I think it's that process only then that allows the 2 of them to do, like, the critical thinking, the out of the box stuff that's needed to then answer the next 2 questions, which is, why are we there? What have we, what are the reasons this week that's made that happen? And then the last question, which is the most important, what are we doing about it? And so as we go through this, we do it from this place of, here's the numbers, here's why we're there. But actually, this is what we're doing to either continue doing more of that or do less of it. Another bit of helpful context, Tisha's responsibility is top of the funnel. So, like, content, engagement, right through to conversions into our newsletter, and then Levi's, yours is everything below that.
Mm-hmm. Okay, I'll kick us off with the headlines. So I'll start with a big win. So we've signed Zoopla as a client this week. We'll be running 2 in-person workshops with them, which is obviously incredibly exciting. And then off the back of signing these, I'm actually currently building out a process doc for new client onboarding to wow them and make them feel proud to work with us from the get-go. And the reason for doing this is to basically just increase word of mouth so that they'll speak to more companies, speak to other members of their team, maybe different teams within Zoopla, to work with us in some other capacity, whether that's get them on Fresh Start, get them signed up to our new product that we're launching, or just different workshops down the line. So yeah, I thought that was just really exciting news to start off with as a win.
Love it. And it's a big, one of our values is obviously existing customers are more important than new ones. So exactly. As soon as we get them in, it's like, just wow them. It doesn't, the high level of service only begins when they sign that terms doc. And so, yeah, amazing. Love it.
Yeah. Another headline is that, so our newsletter growth has dipped this week. That's where the reds are coming from. And this is due to, so the lead magnets that we used this week were the 90-day agenda and the quiz. And the quiz has a low opt-in rate. My reason for this, I don't know, this is me speculating, but basically the quiz has always had a lower opt-in rate. And we've tried to change the messaging on the opt-in box. That hasn't had an impact. And I didn't know whether it's that it's low effort, high intrigue. They're not getting a PDF. It's more like they're learning about themselves. It's not the start of a longer relationship. I've got no data to back that up. This is me just speculating why the quiz always seems to have a lower opt-in rate compared to lead magnets. Don't know if anyone has any.
Is it the quiz though that's better, like long run, as in, didn't we find that the people who, yeah,
That's a good point actually. The people who sign up to the quiz and do opt in are more likely to buy Fresh Start later down the line.
Yeah,
it's just that the number that opt in is less compared to lead magnets.
interesting.
Um,
So go on, Tisha, sorry.
I think we've used it too much as well in the last 2 weeks. Like we've had like many CTAs for quiz. So it might be that the same people are watching it. And so they're like, I've already done it. So, they might not want to do it again. And, might be the same people who are in the newsletter as well. So that could be one of the reasons.
So then how do we get that to new people?
We need to show up on.
I also just feel like the quiz, we've just tested it with, I think one of the issues is over this last week, and which is so interesting when you think about a funnel, is that we've not really had, like last week when we were sat here talking about this, we'd had like loads of things go viral, we'd had lots of content popping off, whereas last week's content, I feel like we had a couple of good things, like it didn't feel bad, but there wasn't really like a spark. And I don't know if with the quiz we just haven't really had like a cut through piece of content with it yet,
that where like the CTA matches directly what we're talking about.
Yeah, exactly.
I think this week we should really focus on a different lead magnet every single day. I don't know how feasible that is, and just see the impact that has next week. And I don't mean the newsletter or the quiz, I mean 5 different lead magnets for the week, and just test. It might be that it's too much work for the value that comes back from it, but I think it's worth trying.
Well, they're all already made, so
exactly. But I mean, like a different one I don't think we've ever done that, where every single day we've had a different lead magnet and not the newsletter and not the quiz, and just see what the opt-in percentage is across all 5.
Let's do it.
Yeah, we could. It's just that we can't change the talk to camera reels now because they've already been shot and edited. But we can definitely try inserting them in the carousels that we're going to do. And we could just change them. Yeah.
What we could do, Tisha, is work backwards. So instead of starting from the content, start with the lead magnet and then go, how do we build out a carousel specifically from this?
Yeah.
There's one going today that I think is it the meet or move?
Yeah, it's the meet or move framework.
Oh, nice. Yeah, we've not done that in a while. Nice.
Yeah.
Another thing to point out as well, which is why the numbers look a bit more red, is a higher churn rate. But this is expected obviously we're in the waitlist sales period, and it's still only 1.18% churn, which apparently is not alarming for a weekly newsletter. So we don't need to start panicking or anything. It's just that's why the weekly number looks slightly less.
And you know what? The reason I'm really proud of us for that with the newsletter subscriber churn is because there was a time, Josh running to the, okay, not the loo. There was a time not long ago, like in the middle of last year, when I was so fearful of anyone disliking what we did, of anyone disliking me selling, of anyone disliking like the content that I put out. And churn in a healthy way is just a really good signal that like you're choosing to sell, you're choosing to talk about the things that you want to talk about that might rub some people up the wrong way, but then the other, 1.8%, the other 98.88% are going to love it more because they choose to stay. And so for me, it's a good signal. We're also really deep, obviously, in the sales period for Fresh Start. So I think most of that churn is the fact that we're focused really heavily on the sell, which again, we're choosing method over emotion. We're choosing to keep going, keep selling, keep, pushing the value of a product that we've created that we know will transform lives. And some people won't like it, and that's okay, because the only other option is we don't sell. We don't get the opportunity to do this inside businesses because we feel fearful and nervous of it. We don't get the churn, but we don't,
Yeah, exactly.
So,
and importantly, we are ahead of target overall for newsletters.
Exactly.
So it's not all doom and gloom.
Yeah, and I guess we're ahead of our yearly target for the newsletter, which is 50K for the year.
We're halfway.
Ooh,
easy.
Nice.
And then one last headline is, obviously, we want to talk about the Fresh Start waitlist sign-ups. So we're behind target slightly. So we should be at 1,600 and we're at 1,373. So we're getting there. Last week we got 187 and we wanted 400. The most conversions are coming from link in bios on Instagram and TikTok and Substack. And Instagram stories are just not doing what we thought they would do. So I really feel like this week we double down on Substack. Do we send one extra? We've got the great, if I do say so myself, demand gen email going today. We obviously have the PS going tomorrow. We have one last case study to send. And then do we send like an ad focused one? Just one last one, urgency. This is the last week to join. Then that's 4, I think, in total.
I think so. Amazing work. When we set the target, so the target was 2,000. Obviously, we've got a whole new week now to get to that 2,000. We're at almost 1,400. Last time we ran this, we got to 1,500. That was our stretch target. We decided to really stretch ourselves this time with a 2,000 target. And a stretch target is exactly that. Like, if we were to hit that target easily, again, I'd be like, fuck, it's not high enough. Or the reason, and this is the reason why when we, right now I'm not sat there going, you need to push harder, we need to do more, because we set that as a stretch target to just stretch ourselves, to change our thinking, to say, if we had to hit 2,000, what would we have to do? We'd have to get more case studies, film the testimonials, which we've done, edit them, post them, commit to send more to Substack, send better to Substack, change up the way that we do the testimonials, do the posted certificates that we started doing last time. And so it just, all those small, like 1% that, we used to get less than 1,000 people on the wait list. Now we're at 1,400 and we're like, we've still got over a week to go. So I'm not, in my head, we're exactly where we need to be. I don't know whether or not this week we change the sprint a little bit. And I think now, obviously, keep pushing for the waitlist with the link in bio, etc. But if the stories aren't converting, potentially we've got a chance to use the stories less as a waitlist converter and more as like the people who are already on the waitlist, just keep signaling to them what amazing work we're doing. So this week, for example, instead of me focusing on how do I get more people on the wait list, focus on how do we wow the people and get the people excited and built up who were already on it. And so I can post some of those photos, Tisha, that you sent me last week on my story from you two in the office. I'll do some photos of I think something that's really important to do at this point when we're only a week out is get really nitty-gritty on the detail. So like do an FAQ, talking to camera. I'll show some of my favorite modules that's inside, just get like really a bit down and dirty and into like what it actually is instead of the bigger sales messaging.
Could we then put that on TikTok? Because if link in bio is such a fit on Linktree and Instagram are the top two.
Yeah.
Drivers, what, like, obviously the CTA for TikTok is link in bio.
Yeah.
And if it's already going on your stories.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay, cool. Make a note of it. Good shout. Okay, Levi, last week we were testing your new funnel process for the 90-day agenda.
Yeah, no. So 61% opt-in rate, 61% conversion rate. So that is above the 50% target. So it shows the page is converting. Opt-ins for the 90-day agenda usually sit around 55 to 60%. So it's not, although it's yellow because it's not the top end, it's not working. It's not like damaged the opt-in basically. So I would say the results are it's not damaged it, but it's not made it like any better.
Okay.
But it looks cleaner. The whole process is sleeker. So even as long as it's not damaged it so far, I'm happy with that because the whole journey feels and looks so much better, and I can now scale that across other lead magnets. So yeah, when I asked you, Tisha, last week about posting it, I basically just thought I don't want to scale it if it's going to make the conversion rate 20% or something.
Yeah. No, I agree. It's just it like we always say with anything in marketing, we have to, every single touch point signals trust or distrust, quality or not quality. And I think our processes work till now. It's not bad, but it definitely needed leveling up to the standards that we now know and have. And I think your new process does that. So the conversion rate there may not, drastically change, but it could be that they are better quality down the line.
Mm-hmm.
It's really hard, this stuff, because this is the kind of stuff I think and for people watching, like the nuance, metrics only show you one part of the picture. And for us, everything that we do is about this like quality and standard of our client perception of the service they get from us, the impact it has on their business. And it's so hard to measure. And I think like when we've worked in corporate in the past, like it's really easy for seniors and higher ups to, all they care about is the numbers. And it's very difficult to kind of say, yeah, but even if like, for example, with the churn rate on the newsletter, but that's actually a good thing because it technically means, we're living up to our values more, and it can be really hard to measure those, but yeah, I like to see it. So great, and big win for experimentation as well.
Whoop, whoop.
Cool. Okay, Tisha?
Yeah. So this time when we talk about reach, we've been consistent with our reach on Instagram. The major factor being carousels. But again, I feel like when we are posting them, we have the likes, we have the saves and shares, but the comments were low. They were just like 90 to 100. I think because we had like lead magnet being newsletter. We don't have any lead magnets on there, but we just have the CTA of newsletter, which I think didn't convert that much this week. So I think this week we can experiment, as Levi suggested, that we'll put like lead magnets. So I'll work on that. But I feel like we had good saves, which we again like talked about on the 90-day agenda. I think we could work around that and, have like posts which have screenshots of what we do and, exact methods around what they can do and what they ask to their colleagues or anything like that. So I think we could do more of that. But again, if you're doing lead magnets, we'll have to work around which lead magnet we can use to screenshot it or, use it in the way we used for the 90-day agenda carousel. So that will be something I can work on. Apart from that, I feel like LinkedIn did great this week. We have 33K impressions. The major one that drove the impressions was the 3 phrases that stop using in the email one.
Tisha, just 1 second, sorry.
Yeah.
Sorry.
Yeah. So I think that LinkedIn post really performed well. So I noticed when I'm converting the reels into LinkedIn posts, they're performing well. So I think I'm going to do more of that. Those posts which like spark conversations basically. So I think I'll do more of that. And TikTok has been consistent. We have Linktree clicks of 42 on Instagram and LinkedIn on 25. Oh, where is actually TikTok? Sorry, it should be TikTok. The newsletter 25. We don't have any LinkedIn newsletter clicks on there.
We've changed it, haven't we? So it just says.
I think it's just a wait list, isn't it?
Yeah. So we won't get any. Yeah. I like what I really like is the observation around sparking conversation. I think you said, because it's interesting. I think we have shied away in the past. I don't know if our content does well at sparking conversation. It does well at generating leads, but I think the best post that we did on LinkedIn of like the last few weeks was the empathy one.
Yeah, that's the Gen Z transparency and that as well. Yeah,
and it's kind of like you said, it sparks conversation, and it, even though it doesn't generate the leads straight away in the same week, it makes us known for something. People know where we stand on topics, and it gives them something to connect to. So I think that'll be a really good phrase to just take into this week and beyond, is just how do we spark more conversation? Because I've definitely shied away from that in my content in the past for fear of being cancelled, probably.
I think the topic of Gen Z and like flexibility and office and work from home, all them, that like cluster of topics always pops off in terms of people giving their opinion.
Yeah. So this week we do have like posts which have converted from videos. So today the demand gen post went up on LinkedIn. So I'm hoping that does well. And we have 2 more coming up. So we'll experiment more. We are also going to put videos on LinkedIn, as you told me on Slack today. So I think we are good on LinkedIn. It's just that we're not converting yet. But I feel like it's good for awareness building for now.
Yeah.
Do
You know what it is? LinkedIn is a whole different ballgame. Like with TikTok and Instagram, you very much can just repurpose the content. And I know they're whole different platforms with different personalities. And if we had more, if I was more committed, I guess, to content, being a content creator, I would treat them very differently. But in terms of being a lean business where we prioritize, TikTok and Instagram can kind of be the same. LinkedIn can't. It's a whole different ball game. I feel like the rules of the game are very different, and as a platform, it's changed a lot. Like, LinkedIn was the first, but I've posted on LinkedIn for like 5 years, if not more. But it's changed a lot. It feels as though it's a lot harder to cut through the noise, and I think what that just signals to me is like we need to, like, those posts around empathy's gone too far, and Gen Z, like almost the controversial takes or takes that show what we stand for. Like we need to, what am I trying to say? Like just deal with it differently. It needs its own love and energy, doesn't it?
Yeah.
If we want it to become a business driving instrument for us.
We
Yeah.
probably also need to remove the fear of like pissing people off.
Yeah. It was interesting.
It's good to piss people off. It means you're sticking to your values.
Exactly. Okay, so action tracker. So what are we putting on there?
I had an action for me. I should have wrote it down at the time. Oh, a fresh start sales ad to Substack.
Yeah.
Oh my gosh, I can't spell. Was there any more actions?
Keisha.
Lead magnets, maybe.
Oh, yes. And then have you wrote something down for yourself? I can't remember what it was. TikTok or
TikTok videos of FAQs. So just like having a real focus on conversion. Cool.
And then I've got one outstanding, but it's for after the launch period. So
yeah, fab. So just jump back to the stats. I'm actually really happy still with the newsletter open rate. I thought it was going to drop more than that.
yeah, same, to be honest. Especially
When I
because
was
last week I think we did like 4.
Three.
Yeah, three, and we're doing 4 this week.
Yeah, so our newsletter open rate, for context, it's normally 50, like 51, 52, but throughout the fresh start sales period it's dropped, which is understandable. And it's only 3%, and that is also still a very high open rate for tens of thousands of people on a newsletter. But just feels I've always tied my self-worth to that open rate number and been very proud. But we also, I think something we haven't really fully acknowledged that you mentioned last week, Levi, is our subscriber number has really jumped. Like we were doing sort of a steady 1,000 a month getting added on, and then in January it just went boom. And so I think that it's potentially still a little bit of like, I don't know, like we added a lot of people in all at once, and I don't think it's done a hit in terms of anything like deliverability. I think it's more just when you add that many people in at one time, I think the percentages potentially come down a little bit.
Yeah, I came back after Christmas after 3 weeks off and went on Substack and was like, what's happened?
Yeah, that's what I mean.
Don't know if it's a correlation with me being on holiday for 3 weeks.
Yeah, she's left us to she left us to it. But amazing work, guys. I don't want us to think, there's some huge green spots there. We just essentially had a bit of a lower week with content than we used to, is all I'm seeing. And we've set some big ass stretch goals for the waitlist sign up. The next time we have this conversation, we will be 24 hours away from launching Fresh Start, and just really pleased. I think we'll probably get up to at least 1,500, which is massive, because we only also launched it like 4 months ago, and we normally have had in the past like at least 6 months in between launches, which is another potential reason why it feels a little bit steeper this time to get up the hill.
Yeah.
Cool. Okay, so I think that is all. We've got, I guess the last thing to be aware of is that this week is a really important week for Fresh Start. Not just because it's the news, getting those waitlisters up, because this, I think, is the week that we convert. This is the week that we need to start testing the processes to make sure that everything's slick. It should be, because, we've done this now 4 times before. But just making sure that everything's super smooth, ready to go, making sure that everyone who needs the information has it. We're going to really ramp up the waitlist comms this week so that everyone on the waitlist gets absolutely everything that they need to know to join us on open day. So yeah, just an important week. And to add insult to that, my parents have just arrived in Thailand, so I'm trying to holiday at the same time. It's a hard life.
It's cool. We've got this.
Yeah, exactly. It's good.
That's the traits that she's bad at.
What?
That you prefer holiday over work.
No, I don't. I've never worked so much as being in Thailand. I tell you.
What time was your meeting?
Right. Shut it, you. She's trying to tell everyone that I went for a massage at 4 p.m.
I mean, the working day is basically done at 4 p.m. So
Exactly. But no, I literally have never worked as much as I have while I'm here. But it's just nice to be in the sunshine. Sorry, guys. Cool. That's all.
Cool.
So bad. I feel like for everyone watching, maybe if you were expecting, me to, I think something that people get wrong about not hitting targets is the bit that, like, in the past, I've had a lot of leaders, managers, whatever we want to call them, who, when targets aren't hit, like, rain down. The fierceness comes out. It's like, we want to shame people, we want to embarrass people, we want to try and catch people out, and just, it's a bit of ego, really. It's a bit of that, like, your ego's been hurt, it's been burnt. And for me, really, like, I know that as long as those 3 questions in the bottom right hand corner are being answered, what are the headlines, why are we there, and what are we doing about it, and then we commit to the actions, to experiment, to try new things, to keep pushing forward, that's it. That's our best. Like, that's what we've got. And I know that these guys show up every week with the data on time, accurate. We've had a whole week of this week of trying things and experimenting with things. We now have got another week coming up where, with last week with onboarding processes, we've also signed, we've had 4 amazing new clients join us this month, which is also a massive win for the workshop side of the business. And it's not, I have never ever been a manager who, even when we're in the absolute trenches with targets, like, I remember a point at Go Proposal when we were working inside Sage where we were really struggling. Like, our targets from above had been ramped up really high, and the whole team was we were just struggling. We weren't hitting anything in any section of the business at one point. And you kind of have a choice as a manager to, like, rain down that ego, get pissed off at people, start, like, raising your voice, and who's to blame, when actually sometimes it just takes this, like, rejig. And this is kind of where I found these questions. It was like, how do I get this to the simplest form possible? Like, what should this session look like? How do we keep it simple? How do we do it in 30 minutes every single week? What are the checking points? And I found that it's just, if we can answer these 3 questions every week, that's our best. Like, that means that we're tracking the right data, we're figuring out why the data's there, and then we're pushing forward and experimenting to try new things to change it. Outside of that, truly, there is little we can do. And I think if things started going really far off course, and I know this has never happened to us inside Fresh Leadership World, but I know if it did, like, for example, if we just could not sell Fresh Start, if we could not get any workshops booked in, if the business wasn't doing well, that's when I start to step in and go, the strategy is wrong, or we haven't identified the right market. We haven't got enough data from our customers. We're selling the wrong thing to them. We're not solving their problems enough. That's when I step in from a strategic point of view, and it's not, Levi, you're not trying hard enough. Tisha, your content's not good enough. It's like, are we pushing for the wrong thing? If those 3 questions are answered and we're consistently hitting reds, are we pushing for the wrong thing? Like, what's gone wrong even higher than this? And so if you're in that position as a manager right now where everything is red every single week all the time, that's where I start questioning, like, the stretch. Something's wrong with this strategy. Try these 3 questions. If one of these questions isn't working, so for example, if people aren't coming with the right data, then you've potentially got an individual problem. So if Levi was bringing inaccurate data every week, or she was unable to, she was missing it, or she was late to it, that's an individual issue. I would just go to Levi and question why it's not working. If Tisha didn't know the reasons, I would be like, okay, you haven't spent enough time with your area of expertise. I need you to dig in further. I need you to find the reasons. Like, asking these questions helps you to figure out what those like pain points are within the team. But then if all 3 of them have been answered, like they have in this session with these guys, and we were consistently hitting reds, that's when I would come back to me and go, okay, it's my strategy. It's, I'm taking us down a road that isn't right. But that's not the case for us. It's just that we're slightly behind target on a couple of things. And for me, the guys, they're pushing, they're experimenting, and they're absolutely smashing it. So I don't need to micromanage anything, and I'm off to lay on the beach. Have a good week. No, I'm joking.
Oh gosh.
No, we've smashed it so far. Like 1,400 extra people have signed up to our waitlist. That doesn't even include, we actually have 4,000 people on that waitlist.
Yeah.
Who, all of which the open rate for that waitlist is still high as well. Like, the people on the waitlist, I think that's still like 40%.
Mm-hmm.
And they're people who know they're about to be sold to. Every email they know is about Fresh Start, and they're still opening it and still engaging. And so we will have lots of people from other cohorts who it wasn't the right time for them, and etc. So I'm very happy, very grateful to you both, and excited for what we're testing out this week.
Whoop whoop.
Whoop whoop. Cool. Exciting times.
Cool. Bye.
Cool. See you later.